Good morning, traders. Sorry about getting in here kind of late. Had a few issues here choking up my computer. Anyway, all is good now, I believe. Let me know in questions if you can hear me and see my screen. I think I'm broadcasting correctly. Yeah, just a yes in the and okay, yeah, okay, excellent. All right, yeah, thanks, guys. No, I appreciate it. All right. Let's jump in here. So again, sorry for the lateness here. This is the Bookmap, not the live order flow. That's for the advanced. This is the platform details and basic order flow webinar. Okay, it's open to the public for everybody here. I'm Bruce at Bookmap. The risk disclaimer here: trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. So when you subscribe to Bookmap, need to let you know that it comes with education. Okay? There's a 4-part educational course that you have access at all times. And then the advanced order flow webinars, that was the original splash screen here that I showed you. That's where we go through the educational course content, okay? But we do it in the live market, okay? So you can learn about order flow, and how to use Bookmap or what Bookmap is showing you. And then we go through in the live market every day in those webinars. It's every day at 11 a.m. Eastern time, every weekday. And we go through same content, but reading the order flow, what Bookmap is showing us, and how to take advantage of it. Okay, and then based on our analysis, we start to anticipate future price movement. All right, so the goal of the webinar here is to go over and define what Bookmap is, who uses it, how to connect it, how to get it, and then start to define the elements we see on the Bookmap chart. So let's jump in. Okay, so we'll start here at the bookmap.com website. Scroll down, what is Bookmap? Okay, we are a software trading platform. We just have a unique way of visualizing the market data. Okay, that's our strength compared to other platforms out there. All right, so continue on. Who uses Bookmap? From day traders, scalpers, swing traders, and algos or quants. All use it, and a higher time frame to lower time frame. It's not just for scalping, as a lot of people think. You can read more about the edges here that you get in Bookmap. We're going to go through those in the webinar here. And then connectivity. So this is important, how you connect Bookmap to the markets. Okay, so we connect to 3 different types of markets: futures, US equities, and digital currencies. Okay, for the digital currencies, the data is free, but we're software. We're not a data provider, nor are we a broker. Okay, so for futures and for US equities, you will need to provide the data, and this is how you connect. Okay, for US equities, it's through DXFeed. That is the only channel for connecting to US equities. Okay, for futures, there's a variety of different ways. You can connect with Rhythmic, CQG, Gain Capital, Transact, IQ Feed, Nanotick, and Cedros. Cedros for Brazilian market. I skipped over 3 different platforms here. You can also connect via the API of these 3 different platforms. So for TT, XTrader Pro, you can connect via the API. The same is true for NinjaTrader, okay, via the API and Interactive Brokers Traders Workstation. All right, if you need a data feed, you can click here and get a free data feed for a trial for a couple of weeks for a variety of different providers. Come down to the different packages and pricing here. Okay, you can subscribe yearly or you can subscribe monthly, up to you. And let's hold on just a minute here. Okay. You can see the different packages are available. There's digital and there's global. Okay, now for digital, it's only for digital currencies. Okay, the data is free, but you can see that there's a free version here. Okay, now this free version, it's very limited, but you can always check out a live market. Okay, that was the whole goal of this digital free version. You only get access to one digital currency at a time. Okay, but the data is free and it's a live market. It's open all the time. Okay, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So that was the goal here. Now, if you're a futures trader, well, you can still get an understanding of what Bookmap is showing you, but you'd have to take a step into the global version here and try it for a month and see if this is something that works for the markets that you trade. Okay, and for the next step up here is the Digital Plus version. Okay, it's only for digital currencies, but you get as many digital currencies as you want. Okay, you can also trade from the Bookmap chart into the two different accounts here for GDAX as well as BitMEX. Okay, you can record and replay your data, and you also get with the Digital Plus here, you get the advanced education. Okay, the free version you do not. And full support here. Free version, you do not get full support. Okay, the difference between digital and global, the only difference is that you can connect to futures market and US equities. Okay, now the Global Plus version, okay, includes all of the what's in Global and Digital Plus, but in addition, you get our exclusive indicators or proprietary indicators we put together. Okay, we built for understanding order flow specifics and like a large lot tracker here. Okay, we're looking at players in the market that hold the majority of the liquidity at a specific price level. Okay, our algo can detect that. Okay, there's some imbalance indicators as well for understanding imbalances in the book or in volume. Iceberg tracker, again, larger players who don't want to show their liquidity. Okay, they use an iceberg order or hidden order. Okay, so that they can get their orders filled without showing liquidity. Okay, big nice advantage there for them, but our algo can detect it. And a correlation tracker. We've been using this in the live webinars to some really nice results here, getting some really nice feedback from the correlation tracker. So we'll continue to do that. Really great to see other markets correlated on the Bookmap chart. Okay, and another one here, and this is a big one, is the one-click trading. Okay, live trading. You can trade from the Bookmap chart into your live futures and US equities accounts. And as well as your GDAX and BitMEX for digital currencies. Why that's a great advantage is because you have the heat map in front of you. Okay, you already know where they are lined up in the order book, so you can front run high liquidity or hide your stops behind high liquidity. Okay, a few more things, and then we'll jump into Bookmap. You can always follow us here on Twitter at bookmap_pro. All sorts of great information here every day. And for quants, if your guys are quants, maybe you want to take a look into this and how we meet some of those solutions, or interviews with traders, okay, etc. And some setups as well as retweets from other traders, etc. Then another point of access you have is through the YouTube page. All sorts of videos here on the front page. I'll just go through some of these playlists. We have the Bookmap intro playlist here, okay? Just some short videos that define what Bookmap is. Then we have the features and components playlist, so you can understand what Bookmap is displaying. And then the order flow video snippets. These are probably going to be the best for you to understand what Bookmap is showing you and how to take advantage of it. Okay, this is what we go through, these concepts here in the live order flow webinars. Okay, we just have very short, concise videos that go over the concepts that we cover, right? All right, that's that. Let's jump into Bookmap. We'll take a look at, let's see here. We'll take a look at the NASDAQ. We've been doing that for a while now. And what are we looking at here? Well, first off, let's take off some of the different indicators, add-on indicators, because I just want to look at the basic Bookmap chart and define those elements. Okay, we also have our point of control in VWAP, historical VWAP. Okay, so Here we're looking at the NASDAQ E-mini. For those of you who are new here, you'd probably look at this and say, that looks like nothing I've ever seen before. What is it? It looks really complicated. It's not. It's the opposite, actually. It's very straightforward. There's only 3 elements on the chart, and they give you a very complete picture of what's going on in the market. Okay. One is the best bid and offer. Okay. This white line here divides current market to the right and historical market to the left. Okay. And the best bid and offer is this dashed red and green line here. Okay. And we record that and put it on the chart. Okay. So you're looking at no aggregated data. You're just looking at the a historical best bid and offer playing out over time. And you can see all these volume dots. Okay, it's the aggressor volume that traded on the historical best bid and offer. And what do I mean by aggressor? It's the market buy and sell orders. Okay, that's that second element here on the Bookmap chart. The third element is the heat map. Okay, now the heat map is what confuses most people when they first look at it. And it's very simple. All it is your depth of market recorded and plotted on the chart historically. So we just tested into this area up here and looks like 72.36 and a quarter and a half as well. And we traded and we kind of sold back off. Why is that? Well, there's high liquidity up here. It was filled. It went through a little bit, right? So there's still some buying pressure. Look for 39 now as the next area to test here. Let's see if the aggressive buyers can lift the offer up into that area. Okay, it looks pretty good, even 42. Let's see if they can get up there. Now note how they're pulling up here at 39. Okay, so let's see if we can get up to even 40 now, or 42, like I said. Looks pretty good. Maybe get a slight pullback, but anyway, now what am I talking about? Why, going here a little too quickly, but look at the insight that we're getting, right? This is called beforehand, and you can already see where we're moving. Right? Why? Well, it's about the liquidity and the context of the aggressor, the volume with the liquidity. Okay. So, and just putting that context together. Okay. And this is the process we go through in the advanced order flow webinar. All right. So just shy of 42 here is a target, and now we're starting to pull back. But where are we going to pull back to? Well, where they initiated the buying, and where there's liquidity here on the bid as well. Okay, so let's see if, I like this little area right where we are right now as a pullback, and let's see if the buyers step in again here. Okay, or we'll see if the, looks pretty good that buyers are stepping in. Okay, but let's see if the sellers though can bring it down into 35 and trade to 35. Anyway, let's define these 2 elements, and then we'll get into the third element, which is the heat map, because that's really where you're going to get the insight here. We're pretty accustomed to looking at volume, but let me take the heat map off for a moment. Okay, and we're just going to look at these 2 elements on the Bookmap chart. And as I mentioned, first element is just historical best bid and offer. Let's zoom into this area up here. Okay, and best offer or ask is the red line. Best bid here is the green line. That's it. Okay, it's just the current auction and level 1 data, right? Now you can see the dots here. Okay, these green dots, these are aggressive market buy orders. Okay, so the aggressor volume, they cross the spread. That's the aggressive part, and they took liquidity. They didn't provide it. They took it off of the best offer, and the green dot is painted here. The red is the opposite. It's a market sell. Okay, and they're hitting the bid, and that's that. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. You can look though at the way we are recording all of this data here. Okay, it's very precisely recorded. Okay, let's zoom into this area here and understand what happened. You can even see there's a little bit of a lag here between quotes data and traded data. Okay, and that's pretty typical, especially on very quick moves as they hit the bid really quickly here. Let's actually look at where it was a little calmer. Okay, and maybe in this area here. And you can see precisely what traded here as we start to zoom in here. Okay, so we can zoom in and see that actually this was one trade for a volume of 3. Okay, but you can see some of these dots though. We'll zoom in here and you can see how they're consolidated just visually or graphically into a bigger dot. Okay, because we're looking down here at microsecond level, and none of us trade off of those levels unless you're looking back at your algo performance. So that's not helpful, but as I zoom back out, you can see what we do, and we just make it into a bigger dot. And we give it reference here to the rest of the volume that's trading. So you have very precisely recorded data. Every single event is recorded here, okay, in terms of volume and book. If you want the numbers, well, you can use the data tip tool and hover over these dots, and it tells you precisely what traded here, okay? And so these are all for a volume of 1. Okay, those three different transactions. All right, so that's most of us are looking at just this data here. In fact, we're looking at derivatives of this data, and that's the problem here. Like most of the charting packages out there, you're going to be looking at, for example, some sort of bar. Okay, and that's the problem here with the bars, because it's aggregated data within a time period, a rotation period, a volume period, whatever the condition is, and then the bar paints. But we're showing you everything, and we're getting very precise understanding of the volume of how it traded within microstructures. And what do I mean by microstructure? This is a structure here. It broke out, okay? And then look at actually the sellers took it down below where it broke out from. Okay, and then they also came back up and they lifted the offer just a couple ticks, but it basically we didn't find any more buyers, and we rotate back down, we find sellers. Okay, now we're out of 3 different structures here. Okay, and it's just understanding the aggressor in control here in these microstructural areas. We can mark them up. Okay, one structure, here's another structure, here's another structure. Okay, and we can start to understand what's transacting within those little structural areas. Okay, it gives a lot of insight to what's really going on with price. None of that insight is here within the volume candle or the candlestick. Okay, where'd the volume trade? Where'd the majority of it trade? How much? Exactly when? What were the speed of moves? What was the reaction here with the microstructure? Okay, you don't get any of that insight whatsoever. Right? And we're just looking at 2 elements on this chart. Okay, we don't have yet the heat map. Okay, now the heat map is that 3rd element. Okay, and this gives you the insight here of understanding the context of the other side, the limit orders. Okay, and what's going on here. Okay, well, we saw we were looking for this breakout into 40. And well, we saw that unfold. They actually started pulling here at 39. Okay? We found more. What was the reaction here? More buyers. Okay, they take it up higher. They just go shy of 42. This is what we're just looking at. Okay, let's get rid of the candlestick. Okay, so now it didn't trade up into 42. Okay, it was shy of it. We didn't find enough buyers to lift the offer up into that area. And in fact, we found some sellers bring it down below that area. Okay, we're still bullish in this area actually. Okay, not until this happens down here, and we're below this little area here. Okay, that we start to think, well, all right, let's see if the sellers can bring it down into 35 now. Okay, why? Because that's where the liquidity is, and we already have that information here. Okay, I mean, this is we'd be looking at the chart like this. Okay, and we're still bullish, still bullish. Okay, now we're bearish and looking for, well, yeah, I mean, we need to go through a little more process here, but we know that we're below this structure here. Actually, I'd be looking for a pullback to this structural area where we drop from, to be honest. And if we get one more kind of like test down into here and find more sellers, I'd be looking for 35 as an area for price to trade, because that's where the liquidity is. Okay. In fact, we got there. Okay, so we hadn't even discovered that yet because I'd been talking and zoomed into this area at that point. Okay, so let's go over the heat map and the understanding of the heat map, because we can see some really nice stuff here just by looking at this. Look at these areas here. High liquidity, okay? One player, he pulls the majority of that liquidity and adds it up higher. He's here in the book, he pulls it and adds it up higher. He pulls it here and he adds it up higher, okay? That's actually a bullish sign here that you know, he's chasing after price. He wants to be a buyer at a higher area. Okay, but what happened under here in this area here is we saw that you know, he stayed in the book. Well, he started to pull right at the last minute, kind of stayed in and out. How do I know that's only one buyer? Yeah, just looking at it here. I mean, because it's the majority of the liquidity here. Okay, so how is it possible? See where the hand is right here, and look at the crosshair. Okay, so at this very precise time, okay, look at what happened after at this area here at our price level of 31 and a half. Okay, now it's gone. Where did it go? It's added up here. Okay, because all of a sudden, how can it? I mean, you're right, Tom. That you know, how do I know? Right? Well, I am assuming. Okay, but we see it so many times. I mean, it more or less, it's like 99% surety here that they pulled, this player pulled from here and added here. Okay, and you'll see it again and again. Anyway, start to understand how they're starting to react in the order book. Now, I've gotten ahead of myself here. I do this all the time. I just love looking at this stuff. How is this all derived here, this heat map? Okay, let's zoom in and let's look at what's to the right of the historical chart here. Okay, the current market. Okay, our current best bid and offer. Our last traded volume is this number here. And then our price ladder here. And then here's the COB column. This is the current order book. This is your depth of market. Okay, this is your dome. So these numbers here, these are contracts at these specific price levels. We take these contracts and we paint them in a heat map into this area. High liquidity is red or orange, and then yellow is less, and then white, and then blue. Okay, the scaling is up here if you want to know, but we paint areas of high liquidity. Okay, and then what we do though is you can see when these numbers change, the heat map changes, and it's changing quite a bit right now, right? But the interesting part is we record it. Okay, so again, like what Tom was just asking. Well, look at we can see already the behavior of another larger trader up here. Okay, we can start to extrapolate this data here and understand potentially pulling here, adding up here. Okay, and then pulling up here and then adding down. So this guy's kind of all over the map, you know, and not so sure what they want to do. That's what I would draw from this. But we can start to understand, like, you know, these areas of high liquidity and start to understand the auction, okay, on the offer and put the pieces together. Okay, now this area down here, very, very high liquidity, okay, around this 15, 16 area. If it were more buyers, the levels would overlap. Yeah, that's right. That's right, Tom. You're putting it together here, the pieces together. The important part as well here is to start to understand, and we've got to go to the next webinar, but start to understand the context really of what's going on. This is high liquidity down here, and sellers are hitting the bid, you know, attracted to this area here. But how did they behave in this area now? They started to pull some of their liquidity. These buyers here have the context in the auction is, I'm not so sure I want to be a buyer now. I'm pulling as price is nearing my my bid. Okay, and but this guy down here, he traded. Okay, we see large sell order right into the bid here, very high liquidity. Okay, and we know that this is fact. This is what it looks like. The transaction took place, 58 contracts traded here. Okay. What was the liquidity here? Was about 57. Okay. So anyway, making a distinction as well, because a lot of traders will say, well, I never look at the DOM because it's all fake liquidity. It's not true. Here's an example. Okay, this is fact. These guys traded. Right? Make that distinction. Now, it's not necessarily fake, but it's just they didn't have intent to trade in some of these areas. Less intent. They started to pull their liquidity. Now we have an understanding of this context here. Okay, in the auction and the sellers, there's more sellers here all of a sudden. Now we saw the move to the upside. Now we're seeing pretty big move to the downside, and we're starting to understand, well, they're not so interested here. They are interested here. Okay, but they traded through. There's more selling pressure. So let's see if we can get down to 12. But we're starting to note they're getting interested and they're getting filled. Okay, so we'll probably see some reversal at some point. And now we can start to understand, due to our analysis here, we can start to understand some of these moves and why there were buyers. Okay? Anyway, we got to go. Got to get to the next session. Sorry for being late, but we'll see you there if you guys are signed up for the advanced order flow webinar. Okay. And if you're new here and you are interested in the advanced order flow webinar that comes with a subscription, well, we do give insight to it on Friday and free access to it on Friday. Okay, but you need to come to this webinar to get the link. Right? That's the way we do it. Can we stay logged in here for the next? No, Tom, you need to act. I think you're a subscriber. I think I remember seeing you. You need to exit this one and get into the next one. Okay, just click on the link to it. All right, we'll see you there. Okay, bye.